Well, for more now on the future for a post-Gaddafi Libya and the interest that various factions have in it, I'm now joined by F. William Engdahl, author of Full Spectrum Dominance, Totalitarian Democracy and the New World Order, live from Frankfurt. Thank you for joining us today. So the Transitional National Council has been billed as everything from a grassroots democratic movement fighting for freedom to a loose mob of armed men fighting for power. In your opinion, just what is the transitional government, the TNC?
Well, what we have going on in Libya for some months now is a major effort by U.S. and NATO forces to pour at least $1 billion, by best estimates, into the so-called Transitional National Council. It's a rival tribal clan warfare that's going on in Libya. This is not the democracy movement in any stretch of the imagination. It's simply an insurgency being supported covertly by U.S.-financed arms shipments into the rebels, and in order to simply carve up the oil fields and get it into Western hands rather than in Libyan state hands, which Gaddafi held firmly to. That's, I think, the real underlying issue in this whole NATO bombing of Libya.
So rival, tribal, internal warfare. But what's going on now in Libya? We now have a capital city full of armed men crying victory. What's next?
Well, I think we're going to face, if they do succeed, and it looks in all likelihood with the full power of NATO and all the insurgency being supported by U.S. and NATO covert intelligence, that they are eventually going to topple Gaddafi. And I think what Libya is going to face after that is a period of prolonged chaos. Nobody knows the outcome. This is, as I said at the beginning, this is tribe against tribe. This is not democracy against totalitarianism. So what emerges from that, I think it suits some of the Western oil interests, especially the British and the French, who are fighting like piranhas over grabbing the most juicy oil fields for their own companies. It suits them to have chaos because then they can control the terms of oil exploitation much better.
Now, recently, Western governments unlocked some of Gaddafi's frozen reserves to fund the rebels. But where is the money going? Will they spend it on infrastructure that's been destroyed during the conflict, or is it just going to be lining their pockets?
Well, this is what nobody can predict. I mean, these are not, for the most part, people schooled in democracy over generations. These are, as I say, just people who've been promised the control of the oil in return for making an armed revolution against the established government of Libya. So, you know, NATO is doing this under a manipulation of the Gulf Cooperation Council several months ago, where Saudi Arabia got a deal with Washington on controlling Bahrain from revolt, in return for which Saudi arm-twisted the GCC members to give this apparent support for a UN intervention, military intervention by NATO. And ever since then, it's been the most brazen violation of international law that we've seen. It's incredible to me that the international media doesn't debate some of the legal aspects of this, regardless of whether Gaddafi's a good guy or a bad guy. This is a precedent that is going to be used time and time again, no matter who.
Well, you mentioned Gaddafi. He's nowhere to be found. What do you think he could be planning for his next step?
I have absolutely no idea what he's planning. He has such strong support from the population for one simple reason, I think, and that is for 41 some years, he has taken care with the oil revenues of Libya to provide clean water for the population, to provide schools, to provide virtually free medical care. The education and literacy levels have risen to almost 93% in the country compared with 40 years ago. So the population wasn't a bitter, grumbling population with discontent as you had in Tunisia. It's quite different. So Gaddafi commanded significant loyalty, especially on the tribal basis. But now it's all up for grabs, I think.
So Gaddafi, over the years, with the profits and money made from the oil revenues, spent lots of money on infrastructure, as you were saying, education, transportation, the medical industry as well. Could we expect a similar show of support to the people from the next transitional government, do you think?
Well, look at what we've seen already from the members of the transitional government. They're not only infighting, they're killing one another. This is just you know, brutal power grab by greedy groups that see a chance to get a chunk of the action. So I don't think we can expect anything positive unless there's a dramatic change of personnel and events.
All right, F. William Engdahl, author of Full Spectrum Dominance, Totalitarian Democracy in the New World Order. Thank you.